Black Briggs Isabel, the 29-year-old graduate of psychology from the University of Calabar. Our passion for psychology has taken her places, including working for numerous NGOs, institutions, and also as a volunteer for the United Nations in Kenya. We join your hearts. Please put your hands together to welcome on stage Ibiere Briggs.
Dr. Odonye Augustine Leke is a physician with training in internal medicine and cardiology subspecialty. He is presently a senior registrar and a member of West African College of Physicians. In addition, he runs the nephrology center at the Federal Hospital. He is also passionate about public health issues. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Dr. Odonye Augustine Leke.
Adekunle Dare Akinbajo is an astute lawyer with multiple degrees from arts, social science, and an LLM in law. He is by God's grace the pastor in charge of the Redeemed Christian Church of God World Changers Assembly, a youth church with a mandate of raising change agents and transforming lives. He is particularly passionate about youth development, youth leadership, and fulfillment of God's purpose for their life. Please join me in welcoming on stage Pastor Dare Akinbajo.
One of the reasons why we decided to get this show, it's not a show, it's actually meant to be a one-on-one talk, bringing this very experienced people to talk to us about living beyond depression. With everything happening in this country, yes, you shouldn't think we should be depressed. There are a lot of episodes going on that it looks like I'm playing chess with this country, but then we should learn to live beyond depression. So I'd like to take it over to our speakers today. So, Miss Isabel, would you like to be called Miss Isabel? Okay, whichever one. So we'll stick with Miss Isabel. So we would like to hear your opinion about depression. What is depression to you?
Thank you.
Jesus, you love me too much.
Okay, it's nice. Hi everyone. It's nice to meet you beautiful people. Depression is a persistent, sad feeling. Are you listening to me, please? It's a persistent, sad feeling. Keyword, persistent. That substantially affects your what? Daily life. Does anybody get me? It's important you get this definition. Now, there is a difference between depression and mood swings. As a person, you naturally have your mood swings every time. It's not the same. That's why I said persistent. Depression ranges between 6 to 8 months, meaning you can be sad every day of your life. You will not have the desire to do the things that make you happy, and you can be like that for 8 months. Now, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 7.6% of people above the age of 12, from 12 and above, face depression within every 2 weeks period of their life. Do you understand? Now, by the scale, that's huge. You may not understand. I'll break it down. World Health Organization has recorded that globally we have 350 million people that suffer from depression. And it's the leading cause of disability. You'll be wondering how come, right? Exactly. I cannot be depressed, get pregnant, and expect my child to come out normal. It's not possible. Because certain things I will do could affect that child. I will explain. Depression affects your decision making. You can be depressed and not be able to make any decision at all. So it affects your psychomotor skills, meaning you are either pacing around all the time or you're always staying in one place all the time. Are we with me? Okay. It can give you insomnia, meaning you are not sleeping. And you know the thing about sleeping for at least 8 hours. Now, it can give you hypersomnia, where you are sleeping a lot and not doing anything. that is not living. You may not understand that. Then I can keep going and going on to the part where you start having, not you, please, onto the part where a person starts having suicidal thoughts. Now, when it gets to suicide part, depression, we try to arrest it before it gets to that point. Now, before I started talking, I should have said something which is most important. No matter what we say here, I can tell you one thing categorically. God is sure. And God helps everything. Now, if you've not given your life to Christ, please do so. I'm sure the pastor, you can see the pastor after the end of the service. Or, I don't know. But please do so, because God affects your life and takes away a lot of things. You may think you're beyond it. Nobody is beyond depression. Now, naturally, people say depression can affect people who are very susceptible to pain. Do you understand me? But the truth is that, yes, a weak person who is not good with, like, who say they don't have good shock absorber and all, can have depression. But in actual sense, anybody can have depression, because that person that is always susceptible to pain, and you that just gets pain once, bam, you can just and say there is no way. Do you understand me? And depression does a lot of things. Now, I'm sure you want to know what could be the cause of depression. As I speak to you, do you know it is not known? But it is said it is a combination. Keyword, please. Combination of genetic, meaning it can be coming from your bloodline. Meaning there's a person in the family, probably 10 generations ago, that had depression. And it keeps passing through and passing through till it gets to another person in the 20th century. Biological. This has to do with your neurotransmitter. And we can't begin to go very deep into that. But for example, a pregnant woman can give birth and start having, you know that now, postnatal situations and then all that. Environmental. And that is very important. Psychosocial. A combination of what? Genetic, biological, environmental, and psychosocial situations can cause a person to have depression. Environmental. There are some people who naturally are not used to crowd. I'm just giving examples. Are not used to talking in front of people and all. And then one day the person does it. Makes a mistake. People start laughing. Do you know that thing can kill that person? You may think it's a joke, but do you know it can? Oh, you don't want to know. There are so many cases. Psychosocial, psychological, and social mixed together. Meaning somewhere in your head or in my head, I have a feeling I'm not accepted. And so when I keep feeling I'm not accepted, when I walk by your side, I just assume you don't accept me. I'm not good enough. You know, depression, they say it works in two ways. Either you hate yourself or you hate the world. So for now, I'll stop here and go to the next one.
So we'd like to take the questions to actually hold on to my question. So we'd like to ask the doctors, can you please also give us just the definition of depression? Just definition, because we're still going to be talking about different things. Yes, sir. Then before you go ahead, please, I'd like to introduce our other anchor in the congregation, which is DG. Deja Vu is going to be in the congregation, so if you have questions, you'll be asking questions going around, so just try and find DG anywhere, pull him if you want him, so that's it. So doctor, yes, I was listening to you.
Good morning, church. I think she said a lot about depression. Just to add a few things with the definition of depression, it's a mood disorder. You know, at times you look at someone and you're like, it seems to be the happy mood. It seems to be the not good mood. So it's a mood disorder which is characterized with persistent, like you said, persistent sadness. The person feels sad every other time like that, and there's loss of interest. Basically, these are the two basic things you have. And unfortunately, we have a large population in Nigeria, and according to a study done by WHO last year, Nigeria has the largest number of depressed people in Africa. And closely followed is Ethiopia. After Nigeria, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, then South Africa, in that order. And I wouldn't know if I should maybe just stay with the definition or talk about the risk factors. Okay. So a number of times we talk about causes of depression. It might be a bit difficult to actually lay your hand on what the causes are most of the time, but they are what we call risk factors. That if somebody has such one or two risk factors, it could make them susceptible to coming down with depression over time. And like you said, we have the genetic component, we have the environmental component. For the genetic component, if you have a parent or a father or a mother who has suffered depression in the past, there is a possibility of coming down with depression if the stressors come to play. If the environmental factors are perfect, you may not have any issue. But if you have a father or a mom who has had depression, issues with depression in the past, and then you are now being exposed to some stressors, some environmental factors, then somebody can come down with depression. If you have a twin brother or a cousin who has depression, there's about a 40% chance of you also coming down with depression if you're exposed to stressors. And the stressors are more of the environmental factors. And these are quite many. Just to talk about a few of them, I'm putting into consideration the gathering we have there. We have young people here. What tends to actually push people to depression is one, when people are bereaved. For people who have lost their parents and there's no support, it could be very, very difficult. It's a different ballgame when you wake up and you say you want this, you want that, and before you know it, you get it. It's different when there's nobody to look up to, and life still has to move forward, as it were. So basically, when you have a dysfunctional support system, if you don't have a strong support system, then you are kind of susceptible to being exposed to stressors. For people who are unemployed, that could be a form of stressor. If you are not unemployed, it could be a form of stressor. Bearing in mind for those who have genetic predisposition and then there's no job, you've not gotten a job for 1 year, and then being in Lagos, it may not be very funny because you need to pay house rent, you need to feed, you need to buy data on your phone, and quite a number of things like that. So those could be very big issues. Then some people, it could be, you could have a job, but your work environment is very stressful. Some of us have very bad bosses. Like my wife will bear me witness. Before I came back to Lagos, when I went for my study, I used to have this very terrible consultant. The guy was so terrible to the extent that on Monday morning you are not happy going to work because you are going to meet a very bad boss. I'm sure some of us have people like that. And depression in itself, maybe I should have said this earlier on, all of us get depressed at one point or whatever. Am I right? But the issue is, the one that gets us a big worry is what I call severe depression. And therefore, severe depression, it means that you must have some, the number of things I'm going to talk about, if you have like 2-3 of them persistent for 2 weeks, as in not leaving you, still stay with you for 2 weeks, and then at that point you could say the person has depression. But everybody gets depressed every day. Yes. Like myself, I got depressed with my boss because there's nothing you do to satisfy him. You just can't satisfy him, as it were, like that. And I think I may not go home for 2 days, 3 days I'm at work, and the next time he shows up, he's saying everything you have done is rubbish. So you can imagine having people like that. There are times he's not around, with the patient for a month, and then no mortality. We do dialysis, no patient dies, and then it still comes and makes you feel like you've not done anything. You've not done anything reasonable. You've not done anything acceptable, as it were, like that. So you go have people like that, and dealing with them is also another issue. Then also going down the line, a number of people have been exposed to abuses. Abuse could be sexual, Abuse could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional, it could be... So abuse is also another area that if you don't talk to the right person, you just keep brooding over it and then it keeps knocking you off most of the time. Okay, so just to say this, then what are those things we look out for when you say someone is depressed? One, there's what we call low mood. The mood is low, persistently low, one. Then two, there's low energy. Then three, there's what we call anhedonia. Anhedonia means loss of interest. Someone who likes to watch the Premiership, but you're asking the guy to come and watch, and the guy is like, just, I'm not interested. Or a lady who watches Telemundo, and you're asking her to come and watch, and it's like, all right, I'm just fine. And if you don't ask for help when all these things keep setting in, you won't know how to, you won't help yourself to actually get better. Because if all these things are well established over time and it keeps going on, you might not be able to sleep, like I said initially, you might not be able to concentrate. And the one that scares us the most that we don't want is suicidal ideation. When you start thinking of, I want to kill myself, and before that happens, you start this feeling of worthlessness. You just feel worthless. By the time you're feeling worthless, the next thing that will come is suicidal ideation. And at that point, we have a big problem on our hand. Then, before I drop the mic, also, we could have depression 1, then we could have what we call a bipolar mood disorder, which means today the guy is depressed, tomorrow the guy is hyperactive tomorrow. Like today it feels like I'm going to die, I'm not good, I'm not this. Tomorrow he comes to tell you, Buhari is my friend. A kind of false belief is deluded. It keeps telling you what doesn't really make sense. So today you see him very low, tomorrow you see him very high. That could be another spectrum of it also. You're welcome.
All right, so thank you very much. Okay, so just quickly, I'd like to say if we have any questions, we should please flip them at RCCGWC. Don't forget at RCCGWC on Twitter. On Instagram also, you can just follow us at RCCGWC and drop your comments or send us a DM, and we'll be reading out those questions. And you can also write them down. I'm sure a basket will be going round.
Yes, and people cannot tell me that they don't have questions, because looking at what has been mentioned so far, we know that it is a common factor in Nigeria.
There are so many stressors
around that. On the lighter note now, even when you are going, if you meet somebody, you want to ask for a favor, you have to say sorry, please, and excuse me. Why? You cannot just tell somebody, please, can I? You have to say sorry. You are first apologizing for the state of the economy before you now proceed to ask for a favor. So sometimes they won't come by and say, sorry, please, excuse me, can I? Why? Okay, so you cannot tell me that you can't say that we don't have questions, because it's something that is common in this part of the world. Okay, so in case you want to ask yourself, I'm going to be here so you can signal to me, but if you have to write it down, please, you can pass it to any of the ushers around.
And yes, please let us try to avoid any mistakes while we're using the hashtag. We're trying to trend the program, so it is hashtag living beyond depression. Depression with a double S, not single S, please. Let's try and watch out for that. So over to you, PD.
As it could also be a sign of depression.
Exactly.
Not spreading it correctly.
Over to you, PD. So as a pastor, not just as a pastor, but as a lawyer, what is your take on depression, sir?
Okay. Good morning, church. I believe that the various angles to depression, those angles have been treated. Then I would just like to do a little bit of modification. I'll take it from the psychologist's point of view. Professionally, not all situations are depression. Because we are unhappy doesn't mean we're actually depressed. Persistent unhappiness is a flag that depression is knocking at the door. Now, when you notice that persistence, you need to speak up. Everyone is prone to it. Unfortunately, there is no legal dimension to depression. Because the law avoids legislating on intentions. The law cannot legislate on emotions. But when you cross the line of acting out your intention, then the law catches up with you. Then you talk about homicide, suicide, and then there are legislations against that. If you try to take your life, and unfortunately you did not succeed, they will ensure that where you are, nothing can help you take it. So you just be there alone by yourself, but you cannot take it. You will even be sentenced to continuous enjoyment just on your own. So that's just introducing some humor to it. But what is important from what we're saying here is that everybody is prone to it. I don't want to read out statistics. I found out that that's why I want to hide the aspect of my legal profession. I found it online. But out of all the professions, lawyers rank on highest depressed people. You know why? Because we don't have any other plan. My brother is also here. Medical profession also ranks next to lawyers. Because all the people that keep only to books, there is enough we are gathering, but it's difficult to really give it expression. And I've said it before, when God gives you an inspiration, it becomes an impression. All unexpressed impression will always lead to depression. Because that is the source of non-fulfillment. And happiness is central to the expression or exhilaration of anything called depression. So, now let me introduce the pastor's perspective to you. The truth be told, Scripture has already talking about things like this. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 10. So they comparing themselves with themselves are unwise. God is too smart to be trapped. Every time you look at your life, and it is about what others are that you are not. Forgetting your uniqueness. Even your circumstances and challenges are so unique to you. But the moment you take it to be, why is this person, why is that person? Listen, singles are crying to be married. Married are begging God to jump out. People that are married are looking for children. Those who have children say, God, what kind of child is this? Every situation. Do you know that there's another dimension, another definition of depression? I said, a state of low, acute drawback in market economy. The moment I got that, I'm serious. The moment I got that, like I knew Nigeria was depressed. Well, did you not? And the person said, also known as recession. No, did you not? No, check online. I'm not joking about it. So these are not make beliefs. So if a whole nation like Nigeria, and it's not only Nigeria, but you know how many nations are depressed. But the point is to make is that your happiness, personal fulfillment, is very central to whether you are depressed or not. Now, what gives personal fulfillment? I round off of what Psychologist attempted to go into. And that's about what is essence? Why am I here? What am I living for? Was the whole summary about my life. What is important to me? Why do I occupy this space? And before we finish, by the grace of God, I'll try to put an answer to those things. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask a question, maybe two. You'll phrase it that well. First one, you've emphasized on depression being persistent sadness or state of being sad. Now, can somebody who is happy or who we perceive to be happy, because we've heard of people who are doing very well in their career and it seems like all is going well for them per se, still be depressed? So can you be happy and be depressed? That's one. Also, how do you identify that this person, because there are some people that you'll be surprised. I really want to know. So beyond state of sadness, what else do you look out for to know that this person is depressed?
Is that question to everybody?
No person can just answer.
So to the psychologist, actually, necessarily.
Okay. I like to practicalize. I'm more into practicalizing everything I do than being theoretical. And I'll still do that further. But I'm going to start with this. I'm smiling, right? Smiling, right? I'm smiling, right? I'm smiling, I'm laughing, and then I'm laughing. That does not signify happiness. Do you know that? Hi, how are you doing? What's up, buddy? It's been a while. That's not happiness. You know why? I can be depressed. Yeah? But do you really think I want you to know I'm depressed? It's a question. Because, let me tell you one thing a depressed person feels. That the moment I let this person know I'm depressed, they may want to see me somehow. Not even a depressed person, you on a normal day, when you're sad, sometimes don't you try to hide it? You try to hide it, sometimes you do it for your loved ones, and sometimes you just do it. Now she said, what can you look out for? The truth is, some people are seeing, but they are not looking. We need to know the difference. Some people see, but they don't look. Do you know over-laughing is not normal? It's funny to you now. Excuse me, I'm going to explain. Let's assume Pastor just said, we're talking now. We're in a conversation. And you now told me, at the end of the day, said this Nigerian situation, and someone just guy, this is serious, not true. You just come and start laughing, and what you're saying is not funny. It's not, and it's sounding funny to you now because you're hearing it because the way I'm doing it. But if you have to experience it, you understand. Because as soon as that laughter dries out, tears comes out. You may not know, but it's the truth. I can laugh in front of you now, walk into the toilet, and I'm crying. So that you see a person laughing does not mean they are happy. Happiness is from within. You see this thing you call physical appearance, it's called what? Physical appearance. Meaning, to smile is your ability that comes with your physique. You can open your teeth, you can open your mouth, you can do anything. But we also have the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect, the mental aspect, because whether you like it or not, depression is a mental illness. Nobody wants to be associated with arrow or yabalet. Do you? So why would I let you know what's going on in my mind? And that is where pretending comes in. And that's why he said something. He said, when you start having that persistent feeling of sadness, speak up. There's something we call cognitive behavioral therapy and interpersonal therapy. Meaning, and then there's also something we call family support. Like he said, support. These are the different kinds of treatment you can have. Then lastly, which is for severe and major depression, antidepressants, which I don't pray anybody has to use. Because it is also said, and it has been scaled and rated, that antidepressants within the first month increase suicidal thoughts. You don't know, but it's the truth. Before you now get accustomed to it. So that means within that period, that person can still die. Do you understand me? If you permit me to give you an example.
You said something about,
Before you write this, okay, I need to introduce something to what you said now. Facade is, well, it's something many people call facade. What I'm not sure it's facade. So the aspect of when you find out that you are gravitating towards materialism, you want to acquire this one. Listen, rich people don't die for lack of money, but they die for competition. They die because they are hiding something. You want to see? That inner fulfillment is not there. So, you want to attain this position, where you attain the position, it's still empty. You buy this car, you build this house, many of our politicians, hear me like, many of our politicians are going through depression. And that's why you see people steal billions, and at the next opportunity, they want to steal. I'm not joking. It's a psychological disorder. Because what she said is that you'll see them outside. As I said, it's perception. He comes in a Range today, tomorrow he's driving a Ford, next day he's coming in a Mercedes, and then next day here he's living at Leke, and all the while in your life, you just already. I shared this example. I was driving in Siena, somewhere in I don't know whether it's Metama, but way. I'm saying this on the altar. Maybe, let me just guess, cannot be more than 19. Can I tell you the car this guy was driving? You know that, of course, normally because I spent pastor, I have to apply the brake. What do you do? You know, all unconsciously, I say, Baba, degree in arts, degree in science, Holy Spirit, and I was just talking to myself. I even wanted to whine and say, excuse me, what do you do for a living? No, that's what I do. Listen. You'll see her go out, come in, and you just like, God, why is my life not like this? Many of them, they're just facade. They have to put those things there so that they keep telling themselves everything is okay. And that's what you see. Now when you see that, you are running your life with that. You're going to put yourself in their state. And then, by the time you begin to move up, what do they call that? Up course. Then you have lost course. And then you find yourself in depression. Because you'll be doing things you are not created for. You'll be doing things that do not bring your inner fulfillment. And at every point in time you run that race, you are doing the rat race. How many of you have heard things like rat race? That's exactly what is happening. God will help us in Jesus' name.
I'm still with you, Pastor. I would like to quickly have your take on what has been happening on Leke. People wanting to identify with other people's success on social media is something that people unconsciously have allowed to affect their psyche, and it's causing people to be depressed. It's funny when you see young adults and youths who are sad or who are depressed, because the psychologist said persistent sadness. Well, persistent is sad for the lack of likes on Instagram, views on Twitter. It's funny, but it's actually happening. People are posting things that hoping okay, are wanting other people's accreditation of whatever they are posting to seem like they are successful or to make them feel accepted. So I'd just like to hear your take on that.
Unfortunately, to most of us professionals, until you open up, nobody will come and jump into your life and tell you that. But I found something. Find anyone who is depressed. Doctor mentioned something. A state of worthlessness. Excuse me, sir. You have 3,000 followers. Excuse me. 3 million followers on Instagram and Facebook. You are still looking for more. It's because there's something missing in your life. I will post my picture and I see one like. If nobody likes it, I like it. Prophet, over my happiness. Don't you think it's fine? Yes, I click like it. On Facebook, when I see that there is even, I also saw that there is one with love, 2 love signs on the eyes. I think that Listen, those are things that make people run mad. You are the author, you are the prophet over your life. So you it's how you make your thing happen that it is. Did you dress me up today? Who dressed you up? When they begin to dress people up, they are getting to a state of insanity. Psychologists told us depression leads to a state of in disability. So you chose. I like these glasses, even though we shall commend them, no. But I like to go and therefore. So when I see you, I smile. Hey, you look good. Yes. I know why, bro. No, that's all about you. But when you leave that aspect for someone else to define, then you are coming on their range and you are moving off course.
Praise the Lord, sorry. Please, can I say something? Can we all do a little exercise now? Can everybody say, I am beautiful? No, that's not what I said. No, please. I didn't say you should. That's not what I said. I said you say, I am beautiful. No, I think you say, I'm not doing prophetic things here. I said, say, I am beautiful. That was smart.
We know better.
Do you know? Do you know this is what he's talking about with social media? That's what happens. You go there to beautify someone, bam, with all the lights. Like it or not, when those lights come, the body must be sweet. It's the neuron, it transfers, it starts going. It's normal, it's sensational. If they like your picture, you see 10. Even if Pastor Dari say you want that one, if you see 10, you won't mind. You understand me? But he also said something. He said you are giving someone the power. Do you know what I'm pointing at here? Self-esteem. And so you see her body, she has hourglass. You look at yourself immediately and straight. And then you say, now, wow, how will I now do it? Then you now start going, excuse me, you're slim. You now start going to the gym. Nothing wrong with keeping fit. But there is a difference between keeping fit and gymming. Hope you know the difference. Keeping fit is you can walk, you can do a little skipping, little things. And
like yes, an example, almost like.
Then you start going to the gym. And then the next thing, what happens? You come out worse. Now, maybe to you, you may think I'm looking better. You know the irony of this thing? Let me tell you what your mind does to you. You look at yourself and you think you are looking better. Do you know? Do you know why you think you're looking better? Because of the idea of the person you saw. I look at you, I think you are dying. But if I tell you, you will say, enemies, haters, stop hating. But the truth is, your esteem complex is very important. You need to learn to raise your self-esteem. And that's another major part that kills people, and that's where depression attacks first. Let me let you know that. Your self-esteem, the moment that goes down, is goodbye. Because you start seeing yourself, and that's where worthlessness comes in. You start seeing yourself. You belittle yourself by yourself. He was a K-pop star. If you watch, for all those of you that watch Gujumpio, Gumjandi, in Korea, then you know of K-pop, they always talk about him. And then he was the, what's the word? The leader, a very good singer. And he asphyxiated himself. You know what that meant? He put charcoal on the floor, burnt it, put his nose and choked himself to death. You said why? He was depressed and nobody understands what's going on in his mind. And when he speaks to the doctor, he realizes the doctor can't understand him because he's different. Everything he wrote, nothing made sense if you read it that made him kill himself. Do you know that? That's one. Two, she was called a sex symbol. She was very beautiful. Childhood, she grew up on very, 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 very weird circumstances. Circumstances that even you don't want to be related to. But somewhere she found her way to the industry by someone that saw her model. Now this model, if you guys expose your breast outside, people will hate you. If she should do it, they don't notice it. You know what they can see? the beauty in the picture. She now entered Hollywood and then she did more comedic movies. And then she was so good at it that at a point she was even not doing the movie, do it sometimes, not do it sometimes. They had to beg her to pay her $1 million that she should come and do as at 1954, 52. Many of you were not born, but I was born, so I can tell you. And then, aside from that, she had issues having children. They said the wall of her tummy, if she has a child, there are like external bodies that will make her have miscarriage. Different marriages. She first married at 16, married in her 20s, married her last marriage, and they all didn't work. At the third one, she loved the man so much, she married him, she gave birth for him, she lost the baby, miscarriage. And people found out she was depressed. Everything going in her life can happen in a lot of people's life. Now, I want to let you know nothing is new. But she's going through it, yeah? When she had an interview, they asked her, why do you log out? Why the depression? Because she was checked into mental clinics for depression. She said, why do people refer to her as a thing? They call her a sex symbol. That sex symbol is a thing. You understand me? And so, she wants to be appreciated more. Are you listening to me? I'll tell you who she is, don't worry. That she wants to be appreciated more. That she doesn't know why people can't see her better than how she is. This is the same person that of all the people you are working with, they did not call any of them to sing for JF Kennedy but you. The president. Yes, you think you are worthless. Are you saying that? Why do people see her as a thing? How do people see you as a thing if they are still calling you to pay you $1 million? But because some people will tell her you're not serious, she cannot do any part. She said no, she wants to have other parts that are not the comedic part. But the comedic part is her thing. She's so good at it. But people kept telling her and talking into her head. And one fateful day in her house. First, the house, you see only one chair, and then like two. See on YouTube when you watch it. There was nothing. You hear her voice when she was talking during the interview. And then, when the interviewer met her, they said she was by the window looking like this. And you know there's a picture of her by that window. You can see every picture is important to show you how excellent she is. But she didn't know that. Self-esteem. And then what happened? After the interview, she went in. Only one bed and the maid. Locked herself inside. Sat down. Poured the pill into her hand, everything, and died of barbiturate overdose. Those were the drugs that were supposed to treat her. She killed herself. Her name is Marilyn Monroe. The person you still talk about till tomorrow. Do you understand me? But she killed herself because of what? Low self-esteem, which was happening in her mind. She was someone else. She was good, but she let things tell her she's not good. And that's why I said she say you're beautiful. Because listen to me, that saying monkey no find the mama like her. Hold it very tight. It's true. There are people that love you. That's why you see some women, they are so ugly, but their husband is so fine. They wonder what's happening. Look at me,
Thank you very much.
Just one moment, please. There's someone who wants to see you over there. Yes, please. So, while Deji is okay, I mean, all these things just with me. I was going to ask Pastor a question actually. When he said lawyers are amongst the highest people that are depressed. But you've answered the question because it's obvious. The way our lawmakers are making, our lawmakers, the way they are making this country look, it is obvious. I'm not telling you it's really, but I'm saying it is obvious.
The person is the lawmaker, doesn't make the lawyer.
But they are the ones making everything worse, so they are involved. And please also, I want to advise, if you want to commit, when you talk about suicide, in this country, if you are alone, your mind can tell you that one mind will tell you don't do it, one will tell you do it. But if you try it outside, for example, you're at the end of the company, you stand there, you want to jump from your office down, they will encourage you. Because in their mind, they say, well, position it is she left. They apply. So please, let's just move on.
Praise God. And said something about nobody, when you try to confess to somebody and you say nobody understands you. How do you deal with this? I know you've read. How do you deal with somebody like this that you know she's going through something and you tell her like, okay, everything will be fine and stuff, and she keeps telling you like, you don't understand. Even if I explain to you, even if when she does like try to explain to you and you tell her something, she comes back and tell you like, you don't understand, like you don't understand what I'm trying to say. How do you then deal with that person? And you probably give her motivational talks and she's like, oh, I've heard these things a lot, like it's not easy, like you guys keep talking. So how do you now help this person out of what she's going through?
Okay, praise the Lord. First, don't, and I don't. I said this. Please don't, and I don't profess to have answer to everybody. Only God does. So sometimes don't feel that. Just talk to me. Let's talk about it. Yes, there's a belief that talking about an issue solves part of it. I don't know what percentage. Problem shared is, that's what they say. But if it has been that way, Nigeria's problems will have been shared, finished. But please, when you get to that stage, you need to do what you call speak up or link up for her. And then you now know that you have very professions that you can speak up. I have had people from church here who gave my number to someone. Speak with Pastor, I speak with my pastor. I want to start talking about it. I said, excuse me, ma'am. This is not what we can discuss on the phone. Can we have opportunity of meeting? You know what I do when I'm meeting you? I want to see your eyes. I want to see your genuflections. I want to know what you're about. I want to know, and with God's Spirit, I can know whether you're hiding. And if God gives me a revelation, I will tell you, you did this, this is what you have done. And then, of course, there's nobody that can hide from God. So that way, there is a superior role in influence. And I've discovered one thing. When Jesus takes over, no professional can handle it. That's the truth. But as long as Jesus has not taken over, you just be going by one thing or the other. So that person, I will expect that by the grace of God, link him or her up to someone that knows, that can speak better than you are, that carries more weight, has more exposure. I can let the person know that I know that I may not be able to speak with you about it, but you can talk to this person. Okay, let's even say I know your history. Speak with this person who doesn't know you about. Then they develop more confidence and you can help them.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Okay.
Please, let's hear the very good doctor.
I want to ask a question, so maybe you can say something also. Okay, so doctor, please, how does someone who has had a traumatic experience or who has probably lost a loved one, how do you handle grief leading to depression? And then you probably had an accident or something and it keeps reoccurring and probably leads to depression. So how does someone manage that?
Okay, thank you. Usually when things happen like this, you need, like I said initially when I was talking, support is a very strong factor here. And the usual first point of call is the family support. The family system is very, very strong. And even before you get to that, maybe post-traumatic problems and the rest of them, at times you have issues within the house, as it were like that. Even without coming out, thank God for our mothers. At times they want to listen to you, they want to advise you the best way possible, and they tend to actually give you that kind of support you actually need. And apart from the home support, I just want to take the spectrum of support now. Apart from the home support, you can also have the church support. And then, to be frank with you, if not for churches as it were, people who have been down a long time ago. Because most times when you come to church on Sundays, they encourage you, they strengthen you, and then it's as if you take a drug that has half-life of a week. So by the time it's Friday, Saturday, the half-life is dropping, but it has sustained you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then if you don't come around a number of times, you don't get to get another dose or loaded dose, as it were,
to sustain you for another 1 week. So running away might not be very helpful. Then also, well, it's unfortunate if I should say that where we found ourselves. I know in the UK they have a safety net. If you are not, everything may not be about money, but let me just talk about money. For those who don't have a job, at least the government has a responsibility to actually give you a stipend over a period of time to take care of your needs. And by the time you get a job, you'll be able to let go of the social security net and stuff, and then you do your job. So you have spectrum of support system, which are very, very important. And also, before I answer that other one, another one I consider over time is being responsible. There are times, for example, now maybe you're trying to enter university, and most of your friends are already in university, and you've not gotten any place to go. Staying back at home might actually worsen the situation. Thank God we are all youth, we're in church. You know, coming to church, if you inquire, for example, coming to church on Saturdays or rehearsals, can actually, if you are busy, you are being productive, kind of, you're taking your mind off that particular challenge. It helps you it goes a long way to like take your mind off the problem as it were. The church thing may be a distraction, it's a good distraction. As far as I'm concerned, it's a good distraction. It doesn't allow you to think and bury yourself inside that challenge that you have. Then going back to the issue of the post-traumatic issue, well, it still hinges on what's it called now? Support. We try to actually make use of known faces, familiar faces, come around, talk to the person. And it depends on the level of what you're dealing with. If it's just something mild, we could keep the person at home. If it's really severe and bad, you won't stay at home, you come to the hospital. Like the issue of the suicide we were talking about earlier on. If you have a suicidal ideation, you can't stay at home. Because as small as...
Sorry, sir, even in prison, they make sure everything is far from you.
Even the hospital, the same thing is applicable. As in, if they put you in a room, they make sure the room does not have anything that you can use to kill yourself. You can't use a belt. Because the guy can kill himself with a belt, can pull the belt and start. You don't have anything sharp to cut yourself and you start bleeding. So anything that can actually make the person...
so once they remove your nails, they will cut your nails?
Yeah, exactly that. And before you can be allowed to go, what is usually done, during my psychiatric posting there was that all of us sit down in the room like this, then you bring the person and you bring the person to sit in the middle. So we'll be asking questions. You want to go home, Abby? So this one, you're all right now. When you get home, you will throw away your drugs, Abby? Yes, I will do away with the drugs. Even if you start saying that you're not going home again, you will stay back. Because if you go home, and at times we need a balance when it comes to trusting God for things. I don't have issues with when you pray that a miracle should happen. I don't have issues with that. But my problem is this: have you prayed for 1,000 naira before? You're not trusting God to take away depression. When you've not trusted for 1 naira before, you've not trusted for 2 naira before, you now want to start with something big. I'm not saying God can do it, but you must have grown over time to be able to get to that point. Because I have issues with, I see patients in the hospital, people who have cancer, for example, and it's something you can take away. And when you tell them, okay, let's do this one, let's do that, we're going to cut that away, but you'll be fine, the cancer will go. They will tell me, I reject you in Jesus' name. I said, it's not about, I'm a Christian, I trust God for stuff, I've seen a few things happen from you too. But the point is, are you acting with faith or fear? Is it fear that is, when you say in Jesus' name, are you calling the Jesus name out of faith or it is out of fear? Because you are scared a number of times. So I would advise that if you're going to use your spiritual life as a platform for healing, as it were, I think it's good you trust God for 1,000 naira. You need 1,000 naira desperately. Someone knocks on your door, gives you the money. You can build on it. Not just all of a sudden, you've never trusted God for 1 naira, the last 10 years. Something that happens today, you now want to. I don't think it works that way.
Yeah. Okay. Can we sit on trauma for a bit? Because I believe there may be a lot of people. I have my traumatic experiences, and I'm sure you do. So I'm going to do something. Just watch me closely. This is a cup. This is water. What do you see? Please talk now.
Is it half full or is half empty?
Okay, half full, half empty. That's what you saw, Abi. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen. You saw half full and half empty. Why did you not? Let me see what me I'm seeing first. I can just say a glass of water. And that's what happens to your mind when you stress on things. Sometimes you don't need to see half full. Sometimes you don't need to see half empty. Sometimes see water and drink it. Do you understand me? And I'm going to explain that with trauma and relate it to. I have a friend, bosom friend, studied the same thing. We met in the university. In fact, what made us click was that she went to federal government college. Me too, I went to federal government college. We clicked, we became friends. Very beautiful. Aye. Very, very beautiful. And one day we went to sit out and hang out and gist with other friends. And while we were talking, something led to the gist. We now started talking about rape. And so we're not like, now wow, people that suffer from rape now, wow. I was just saying, we're talking, we're really lamenting. And she just looked at us and said, what is it? I've been raped. And I'm like, what? She was like, when I was 5 years old, I went to play in my friend's house. And her father drove all of them away, locked me in and raped me and spilled sperm all over me. Raped me till his heart content. I'm like, I help your mouth and say it. She was like, what are you saying? I'm going somewhere. She now told me, and when my parents decided they didn't do anything about it because, of course, I grew up in a very humble background, they were poor. And what did they do? They sent me to my auntie's place to go and recuperate. I was 7. The houseboy and his friends, they raped me too. You see where I'm saying it? All of you are shouting, ah! But do you know when she said it, the same reaction came from me. And I was like, are you serious? She was like, chill, man. I'm like, I am saying this so casual. She said, don't you have your own issues in life? So why is this one so different? Why are you making a big deal? I said, why did you just say it like that? She said, because she would say it. Because it happened. It's an experience. She's moving ahead of it. As I'm talking to you, her parents, they didn't have anything, but she took them up. She works with Sarah, Basic, Koshiba, Tokastin. She took them up and did her own thing. Her younger ones, she trained them. Now, I'm going somewhere. She refused, and that is the state of mind. That's why I told you about the glass of water. When you say rape, you want to see it as a big deal. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not, but she refused to see it as a big deal. She chose to see it as a situation that happened. It has come, it has gone. What about you that thief has beaten up? Thief beats me. One day, as in secondary school, I went to buy provisions. He beat me and collected it, and I fought with him. But I put it to you for 2 years. If I want to sleep, if something should talk to me, I want to fight. That is post-traumatic syndrome. It is. And that was because I was afraid. But when I started realizing I was doing that, I told myself that, will I continue to be afraid of my shadow? I snapped out of it by myself. Nobody helped me. So before doctor, like he said, if you start saying you will throw away your drug, they will tell you to sit down there. Before the doctor will be able to help you, before the lawyer will be able to sentence you, because at the end of the day they will say, okay, mental illness, you are going to our room. Before the doctor, ask yourself, the power. Listen to me. Your perception, that's what perception matters. Don't overthink. Some people overthink their life. Sometimes it's okay to live the day as it comes, so long as you have God in your side. And not start thinking of how severe, okay, I've been raped. Okay, they stole for me. Okay, excuse me. The person they did not rape may go and kill themselves and you are still standing.
Just a minute. You know some people, this is how I said the Lord should. This is the, they will support my dress. They will
Exactly.
That's how they just spoil my day. That's how you are the one spoiling.
And you spoil the day of every other person that planned that event for you.
And that way, the person who brought the drinks did not come on time. I don't know why you are. Is it the time? It's how his clothes. That's the issue. Then someone comes and why you calling at this time? Come. Everybody just snap, and then you ruin everything.
Exactly.
Once you give, always come around. If you want joy, send it out. It will come. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
I don't think you got that.
So I would just like to hand you over to AJ. Let's read out questions that you guys are waiting on.
Okay. So we have 2 questions here, but just with advice, in case you have your drugs, don't throw it away. Okay? So because you will not leave. Just like I heard the story.
You're not helping matter. You're telling people about it.
Just like I heard the story, that they were trying to look at people to go home at the psychiatric hospital, and so they said the white, painted the door white. And now went somewhere else in the world to draw another door, and said, "Are you guys ready to go home?" Say yes. You can go. They were all trying to struggle to pass the door, pass that door on the wall, and it wasn't opening now. So one guy seated at one corner. You guys see this one don't wear. So that's how they know whether you are. You don't want to go out. Why they don't join them and say, see them? They know they are there with the keys. Alright, so we have 2 questions here. This one is, can one be depressed and won't know that he or she is depressed? And then the second question, what drug can I use when I'm depressed?
Hello, I'm asking this question because they're asking about drugs.
Yes.
Honestly, you are on emergency here. Yeah. We need to talk one-on-one. Hello, I'm not joking about this. You have doctor here. Just come and see doctor. They will prescribe. But you need to see someone. Let's not even discuss it. I know I don't have an issue with that, but please, I beg you. Whatever you hear publicly now is half of what you need. You will still need to meet them one-on-one. I beg you in Jesus' name.
Sorry, someone said something about motivational speech. This is not motivational speech. So if you take it like you're in treatment, then you will get treatment. If you take it like cut or captain going out, it's your state of mind.
It's not motivational. Just last week, one of you sent me a picture of a pastor who committed suicide. Check out the Bible. You think he's not praying in tongues? He's praying with both sides of the tongue.
Okay, so I think that person, because I think there's more to it. So you need to seek for help, because we need to know why you're asking for the drugs. It might be that maybe the person is going through depression at the moment, or the person is expecting to go through depression, or I'm just saying, so it's not something we can just tell you, go and use Panadol, and use Panadol. You'll find out I see there.
Let's hear the medical doctor.
Alright.
Well, we can't give drugs just like that. Like she said, at times it's just a problem-solving skill you might need to develop. A problem-solving skill. Like she actually analyzed. The truth is that you don't want to start drugs, because if you start, it will be a very long journey, and you might not be able to stop on time. So most of the time, you don't want to start with drugs. Talking with the patient. And let me just say this, I think we have new definition of success with young people now. As in, like they said, having 10 likes on social media, the big new definition of success now, and not the core thing you need to actually work on. So, I don't know, maybe I'm becoming old school. All this, I don't have most of the social whatever accounts, maybe except Facebook. They were requesting for my Twitter and Instagram. I don't have Instagram. I don't know. But I
go and close your account.
But as long as you have a bank account, it's fine.
So I think I'll just advise the person to actually come around to have a talk. Then if we might need drugs, we'll send the person to the right place to go to.
Even if you need drugs, you can come and see. You can use Panadol. It'll be fine. So we have a question from someone on the floor.
Alright, wait. The question is, does the psychiatrist actually cure what? The psychiatrist, can they actually cure depression? Because there is someone that is depressed that I know, and
the thing is causing disability in the person, and then they wanted to take her to the psychiatric hospital and tested against it. Yes, of course, because I've heard things like they increases it. You understand? They increase the mental state of the person instead of them to cure it. So can they actually cure it? And that is one. Then secondly, the fact that you know these things, does it mean that depression will not have its power over you? I mean, I want to try to know the power of depression. You understand? The fact that you know these things, does it mean that depression cannot have its power?
At least I just told you one. Hello? I just told you one. Unfortunately for me, I was driving. And then I was driving in Siena. And this girl came. I don't know whether it's Lamborghini. I don't know. It's just one car like that. I'm like, in my mind, God, what did I do wrong? I just come and announce to you that the Lord has done it. But it didn't happen. So there is nobody that is exempt. All we are doing here is trying to help one another. All of us are susceptible to the same thing. Doctors commit suicide. Psychologists commit suicide. And I just told you about a pastor who died last week of the same thing. I told you lawyers rank so high. Don't quote me. So high there because of depression. Who cannot want the depression? The only saving grace is Jesus. We are coming there.
Okay. Praise the Lord. I want to answer your question. I'll answer the first one and then the doctor will answer it. But I want to answer the first and the second. But I'll answer the first one first. You said, can it be cured? Remember I told you something. I said, they don't even, the cause is yet. In fact, it's not a case of yet. The cause is it's not known. It's a situation on its own. But it ranges from genetic, biological, and a thing that is genetic. By the physical standard now, we're not talking about adding God to it. God in everything though. A thing that is genetic, is it something you can just take away? But you know the truth. The cure is somewhere. You know where the cure is? In your friend's mind. The cure is not with me. Listen, there's a cure. There are people that have depression, they've left the cure for depression. Do you know how it happened? It's not the antidepressants. Because you can stop taking antidepressants, over a period of time you start having it again. And they say people who have once been depressed are susceptible to having it again. And that is where we also have I told you about the cognitive behavioral therapy and the interpersonal therapy where you talk to the person. I can categorically tell you that there's a way I can talk to a person and I will penetrate the person's mind and I can make the person think what I want them to think. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's right. It will only be for that moment, but to leave. Once he leaves, what happens to that person? But do you have an open mind to tell yourself? Because he said something, he said support. The support will be there. That is what you're doing. That's why you said you don't want her to be taken there. Because truly, mental hospitals, they kill your mood. They kill even you that you're not depressed. When you get there, you will be depressed. If you don't pray well, it will follow you. You don't know. Things you see can stay in your mind that they start eating you up.
Sorry, ma. There's a hospital here in Lagos that I just told someone, and since person had an accident, had a patient say, exactly. I don't know the message of just. In fact, someone asked me that, which HMO am I on? I said, this one. He said, which hospital? When I mentioned one of the things, your mental not cool, and you don't know. As we're selling the information, I just said, excuse me, ma'am. Don't worry. Me, I'm alive. I am alive. As far as I've been going there, I've had excellent. He said, I said, very excellent. Go. Only, and since that day, she never mentioned it again.
So, can you hear me? So, the cure is in the mind. Is the person ready to also see someone? Is the person ready to talk to the person? Are they ready to open their mind and believe that, okay, anything I'm telling you, I'm trying to talk to, I'm trying to open up. And does she exhibit some tendencies? Because there are different types of depressive disorders. There's bipolar where you exhibit manic tendencies, where you can slap me at one moment and smile with me the next. And then there's just unipolar where you're just depressed. And then there are others that are seasonal. Some people, when it's winter, I'm telling you now, major depression disorder, seasonal. When it's winter, you'll be depressed throughout winter. But when summer comes and there's light, they are okay. There's that one. Do you understand me? So there are all sorts of disorder. There's the one that we call psychotic, where the person only sees what I'm seeing you. Then I just assume, oh my God, you're twins. Your twins look so nice. But you are sitting down there. That's a different situation. So one will have to know how far what is wrong with her is. And for your second question, you say, we, because we know. Does it mean it cannot? Let me tell you, knowing too much can be a problem. Do you know me as I'm talking to you? Yeah. Me as I'm talking to you, I'm a very controlled person. Like, you'll be talking to me. I do something wrong, I'll tell you I'm sorry. And then when I don't do something wrong, I'm like, okay, no problem. When I want to talk to you, I try as much as possible. It could be due to what I've understood and what I've learned or what I've studied. I try as much as possible not to take some pattern. To the extent that in a relationship, now I'm telling you the downside to it. The person I was dating then was telling me, was scolding me, was shouting at me, and I was like, well, are you done shouting? Calm down, relax, we can talk about this. He said, you are mad. You are thinking it's a joke, it's a problem. He said, he asked me, why are you so controlled? Lose control one day for once in your life. Be angry. But the day I will get angry, oh Jesus Christ.
How can you be victim?
The people, I'm telling you, it's me that did it, it's not someone else. My neighbors still talk about it today. He came and I was like, you can shut up. You can shut the hell up. And he shut up that day. But that's not the way to react, yeah? But if I'm allowing these things come once in a while, I should understand that anger is normal. You can be angry and you can get out of it. Do you understand me? But when you control everything, you're always in control. It's not too good. And being always in control, when I'm angry, he doesn't know what's in my mind. You don't know what is going on here. You don't know what I'm... So from then I started working on myself again. In fact, to the point that I said, God, you know what? It's your time. Can you imagine? I'm praying for being control. Yes, I said, God, it's your time for you to now teach me, because it was becoming something that I realized was not good enough and was now leading me to a state of being too controlled. So even as He is, I am, nobody is well susceptible. It is God that is giving us.
Praise God. Please, let's understand the control she just mentioned now. If you try to do it by yourself, you will fall susceptible. That's why self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22. It is not something you inflict on yourself. That you just say, then you become a Jew. Then you won't get to heaven. But when the Holy Spirit helps you, there are times that you cry. There are times that you realize that you're still the one going to say, I'm sorry. And that is influenced divine self-control.
Sorry, sir. You know the Holy Spirit has once told me it's okay to cry. You know I don't cry. My elder brother told me they were watching Pursuit for Happiness, and then my auntie, I have an auntie that if she just see you do like tears will come out. I don't understand. And she started crying. She told her you will cry when you want to. And I was like, I didn't cry when I was. You say you are happiness. My Lord, tears is hard. But one day, Holy Spirit told me, listen, that thing pained me so much. I was cool. I came back to the house and I was sitting down. Do you know it got to a point that if I cut myself, I don't feel it. You think it's a joke? The mind is so perfect. I've been worked up. So I don't feel it. But that day, Holy Spirit told me it's okay to cry. I was just sitting down. And then my mom came. She said, I saw what happened. I was like, oh, sweat. And then she just put her hand on my back. Like, Holy Spirit. River of living water. Oh my God, I cried. That day, that's when I knew that tears is possible. So, it can be anything.
Okay, just in quick succession, let me disabuse our mind a little. Because someone is being sent to a psychiatrist doesn't mean that they're sending to bad people that will destroy your life. If you can't sleep at times, you need to see a psychiatrist. Everything is not about running mad. There are times you need help, really. It's not about somebody's mad or will become madder. That's not my English. One, then two, about people here not being, I've had friends that have died because they failed the exam, write the exam not. And the exam pattern are so terrible that if you don't pass, I had my own running battles last year, my wife is here. I wrote exam. When you pay for exam for almost $500,000 and you see wrong and say one day because you don't want to pass. And if you don't pass, you're not going anywhere. So that's on that side. So nobody is immune to that issue on that side. Then the last part, depending on the treatment, as in not taking someone to the hospital. Well, I think the take-home for all of us should be that when something starts, we should try and take responsibility to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. So that we will get to the point of the interpersonal relationship we can put in place. Let us talk to people that can be of help to us, can go a long way. And at times you need to make up your mind on some issues that this thing won't put me down. I just have to move forward. I'm sorry. I just have to move forward. That's one. Then two, talking about treatment, if it can be cured. It depends. If it's getting complicated, then there's trouble. Because if it's getting complicated, the person might need to be on drugs for life. Like she was saying initially, there are a number of complications we tend to have when it becomes psychotic, as in someone sits and keeps telling you, they're discussing me, 2-3 people are discussing me. You're already hallucinating, auditory hallucination, there's trouble. Or the guy is saying, I saw the guy just came in now, and he left, he entered this room,
Wait, I don't know. I'd like to ask you, I just said something. So all these people that say, I know they are talking about. Wait, so we can hear. Because I know people discuss with others of people. That's like, see, they discuss.
No, they will tell you when we clap them. Normally, as a doctor, you're not supposed to run from a mad person. You sit them down. The way you actually ask questions for someone who is sick, you sit the madman and you'll be talking. Yes, and you'll be talking to yourself like this. So what happened to you? What is? Are you seeing anybody? They will tell you I'm seeing someone. Who are you seeing? Describe the person you're seeing. They will describe the person to you. Are you listening to someone? Is it one person talking to you? Participatory delusion, all those things. Third person, second person. Are they 2? Are they 3? So you'll be able to use that to make a diagnosis and to know what you want to do for the patient. So it's not all bad. So back to your question, if it's getting complicated, like I said initially, the person is saying stuff, the person is listening to things, and if you're that or funny beliefs, like you said, somebody can tell you, I was in Nassau yesterday now. As in, when you hear this, you know what to do. If it's about belief, if it's about saying funny things, if it's about listening to funny things, you can actually put all of those things together and help. So we don't want it to get to that point. By the time it's getting to that point, it becomes very difficult. And the truth is, these things are big issues. A number of my friends, I have friends that the younger ones have depression. We didn't know on time, was job related. Before we could say Jack Robinson, say the guy is talking rubbish, blah, blah, blah. And he's on drugs. I have plenty of people around me like that. People might not want to talk about it because all of us are in church now. But the last time I was in a mental health clinic, that was when I knew that there's struggle. Because amongst my colleagues, plenty of us are attending mental health clinic. Students in the university attending mental health. They're just nurses, mental health clinic. Bankers, mental health clinic. So you don't think it's something far-fetched. So the point is taking responsibility. Once you go by confession, confessing the word, believing the word, those things can go a long way to actually prevent us from getting to that point. Or talking to someone that can advise you. Or for some of us, all we just need is just to develop skills that will help us solve those problems. It may not even be prayers. So I just want us to actually take those things to mind, please.
All right, so we'll take a question from the floor. And that one that you just said, when you're arguing with someone that is mad, you are saying you're mad and mad. It's very, I got some, now you can even be using Bluetooth and this thing, receiving calls. So people are naturally thinking, oh, okay. Hello, yes, spend the money to my account, yes. Before, when government was packing people, just do mistake and use Bluetooth. Yes, spend the money, they will just pack you. Say, I'm not mad, they say, we know. When you go to the bed, they will give you like a thing to sleep off. Now you can be using Bluetooth to hang out, be walking and be talking and be. Things have changed though. Alright, so we'll take this question and then.
Isabel, when you were talking about self-esteem, you ended by saying you have people who love you. Okay. So what happens when people who love you?
Please speak up.
Okay, what happens when?
What happens when you love?
Calm down. I was going to ask that place. I was asking for someone to ask. Okay, so let's ask.
Sorry, can you take one more question? Sorry, can you take one more question so that we'll
answer two together. Okay.
Praise the Lord.
I went for an event and I realized that the theme of that event, they were talking about bipolar. And I was not really seeing the reality in that particular, although I've seen some. But then, it was like 10 minutes after I went to a restaurant and I saw that same thing because I was observing every little thing around me. So I saw that same thing.
May not be bipolar.
No, the lady was reacting to like everything, including the person apologizing to her. She was like, I don't apologize to me, why you know? She was overreacting. And I was wondering now, after the whole explanation, that what really is the difference between bipolar disorder and depression?
Okay.
Like, what's the relationship?
No, okay. I'm going to answer you if I go to that man. You see, that man's own is something that is very serious. But I'm going to answer you first. Now, what I see many people write this on social media. If you watch Big Brother Nigeria, people start writing Sisi is bipolar, Sisi is bipolar, she's bipolar. A lot of people don't even know. You just heard that, okay, exhibition of many tendencies and all. Then before you know, you tag the person bipolar just because they are angry and their temperament is higher than your own. Listen, we're different people in life, and we express anger differently. Some higher than normal doesn't necessarily mean that person is bipolar. You understand me? So you going to the event and then coming out and checking for bipolar, you should check yourself. You are the one with the issue at that point. You don't know it, but it's the truth. Because now you are looking at the girl is, you know the irony of it. You don't even know why she's angry. You don't know what was done that got her to that point, that she's not listening. There's a way a person can be angry. You want to talk to me, I don't want to listen to anybody because what you've done has really hurt me. You have the right to feel and express your emotion. But you're now looking at her as, hey, this is one of the people you were talking about. You are the one that should check yourself. At that point now, you are the problem. She's not the problem. Do you understand me? But you want to know between bipolar and depression. Bipolar is a type of depression. I talked about unipolar and bipolar. I said unipolar is when you're depressed. You don't exhibit any tendencies, many tendencies, you don't do anything. The person is just depressed all the time. Bipolar is that the person exhibits an mimic tendencies where you can be happy today, and the next moment you can be sad. The next moment you talk to me and I jump up and I follow you up. Do you understand me? It can come, that mood is a mood disorder. There's difference between mood swings, don't forget we talked about that, and mood disorder. So please don't go out and start checking again. No. Now, when that person exhibits that, when you now go out, the essence of seeing a professional is then you will know what you're diagnosed of. You can't just sit down and name people based on what you see. I told you sometimes you'll see, but you're not looking. And what you see, many a times, there is more to things that meets the eye. So you cannot just walk with what you think you are seeing. Do you understand? So please, bipolar is a type of depression, and please don't go out looking for who has bipolar. Live your life. Then, bros, you said, what happens when the love is unrequited? Yeah? Please, I want to send a warning, please. And all jokes aside, I've been there, I've done it to people, as in I've been on the guilty part of this and I'm about to say. Please, heartbreak is a serious thing. If you know you love to break people's hearts, please stop it. You think it's a joke? Calm down. I'm going somewhere. Everybody now is laughing. Yes, it's easy. I've broken people's hearts, to be honest. And how did I do it? I didn't even do it in the wrong way. You know that they say that a fine girl, you may say it's pride, it's not pride, I know myself. A fine girl naturally has like over 60 people that are heartbroken, even when she has never spoken to them before. Do you know that? Even a fine man too, it's the same thing. It's not how it's the truth. There are people who love you, have not come to tell you, and they are dying in silence. Do you understand me? So, I said this thing. Heartbreak is very, very... Now, I didn't do it deliberately. There were people I didn't like that liked me. And and in fact, coming to Christ, he taught me. I tell you straight up, it will not work, don't go there. But there are people who persist by themselves. And then they get heartbroken. And then they get hurt. You understand me? That's one. But now, you that you know, you deceive, and you trample on that person's emotion, and then you break their heart. Jesus. The emotions are a part of feelings. It's funny because it happens on the day, it's normal. Emotions are the most, what's the word, delicate part of the human being. You don't know how delicate it is. That's why they say for everybody that is doing, your name will come. It's very delicate. When you hit someone from their emotions and you pierce it, a part of them is gone, possibly for life if God does not step in. And that's why you see someone that was once loving cannot love another person again. And you say you are all right. Guys, that person is not all right. Because that person has been toyed with, they've been trampled with, and now there is a debt. And that debt can last a lifetime. So if you know you are in the habit of breaking people's hearts, as a guy, you follow all sorts, you break, crack. As a girl, you break, stop it. If you want to date someone, date them. If you don't want to, don't date them. And if you said, what happens when you love a person who doesn't love you back? Please, 5 plus 5 is what? It is not 11. Find your way. The problem with this world, especially women, and let me let you know, that it has been written, and it has been diagnosed that majority of the people with depression are women. Yes. Majority of the people are women, because the problem I have with women, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm telling myself too, I've once been there, but I thank God for one thing. Even before I became a psychologist, I knew how to tell myself the truth, and I'm not saying it to feel funky, it's the truth. You say it's lack of patience, but it's not. It's opening your eyes. The problem with women is that you will see the signs. I don't understand. You will see it. You will stay there. You will say, no, if I hold on a little longer, and you will check, that a little longer is giving and taking a part of you. Listen to me, you cannot fix somebody that is broken, they will be breaking you. You may not know it, and this is not motivational talk. I keep telling you people, this is, if you want to believe you're in treatment, you take it. If a person doesn't love you back, with respect to, and I know sometimes even our families have disappointed us. And that's why we say we have God. That if the Holy Spirit is the comforter. You are living in a world, listen to me, where you put people on a scale and they are just human beings. You cannot tell me that I cannot hurt you. While I'm talking about the people who break hearts deliberately, I'm also going to talk about it to hurt a person. Most of the time it's not intentional. It is natural because we are what? Human beings. But sometimes you put the person on a scale and when they drop, you start dying because they dropped on that scale. You forget that they are humans.
And I don't put them there.
And then you are the one that put them there. You refuse to see that there's a part of them that can fail you.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when you don't want to be failed. But because of your expectations that have been cut short, people slide into depression. Now, I said slide. You may not go straight. You just be going. So please, 5 plus 5. 5 plus 5. Let it be ringing in your head. It's never 11 and it can never be 14. It will always be 10. He doesn't want you, he doesn't want you. She doesn't want you, don't hold on. Friend zone, listen. Friend zone. They say the difference between a boyfriend and a boyfriend. You see that space there? It's called the friend zone. That space is the friend zone. For a girl, you can be friend zone. Don't go and friend zone yourself. You'll be killing yourself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you cannot be a friend to someone. When you start having feelings, if you talk to them about it and they don't feel the same. And then there's the part where you also hope of God, because for everybody, I believe there's someone for you. But you can think there's no one for you. That is your thought, it's working in your mind, but there is somebody for you that loves you the way you are, whether you are killed, that loves you the way, whether you can somersault or whether you want to die.
Those people that are waiting for and then they lost us. They are waiting for that part of the Bible, Isaiah 4, that says that on that day, 7 women to 1 man. That is the thing that is delaying your wedding. It's a lie.
Sorry, have I answered your question?
Alright, okay, we're going to be giving, before the end of the service, we're going to be giving you an email that you can send questions. We might not be able to take more questions, okay? So, but we'll give you an email address and you can send your questions. For those that are waiting their questions and we're not ready, rest assured we're going to take them and then you'll be able to fill it on our blog. Okay, so, but we have just one very important question. We'll take that question and then we'll round up.
Okay, to Pastor Darius, please, what can be done to someone who is always having mood swings? And can mood swings lead to depression?
I think the psychologists, the doctors have talked about it, that once it becomes persistent, then depression is knocking at the door. That's the truth. Everybody mood swings. It's just degree. Please hear me again. Everyone does. We are all a combination of chemicals interpreted by the brain, and that's what makes everyone smile. Why do you see something, oh great, and when you want to say great, you say it with a smile? Have you ever seen great? So it's so great, and it's very happy. People smile with it, but when you see so, I am very, very sad. No, so I see the contrast. Because inside my head, when I hear happiness, the expression, the chemical contents, all the neurons tell me that there should be your lips should go wide and you should bring out your teeth. Everything works together, and they also work in such a way that it's not like a smile that looks like no, it's not like that, because voice has come in. Everything comes in from here. Now, I do not believe that I have answer specifically to why moods swing. That is a combination of you, your personality, many things come into that. But it's everybody mood swings. So it's just for you to know that it happens once in a while. But when it persists, my own take is speak up. Because when you speak up, then you can get answers. Is it normal for me to do this? Is it normal for this? Is it normal for me to? Then that's what we're about.
Okay, so before we have final words from our speaker, I missed out one person. One person. She's raising her eye, just don't know why.
Okay.
So that doesn't look like they say I'm muted because I'm depressed. I'm not depressed. Alright, so we'll take our person and then we'll move on. Alright.
Good morning, everyone. For someone like me, start question. I have very terrible mood swing, and then during this mood swing, when I'm calm or something, I tend to tears just need to drop in my eyes. I don't have any.
Like, why did I do this?
Wow. No, there's no specific reason for tears. Can I say I am depressed, or is it, I don't know, is it a state of depression or something?
I think I should answer that, doctor.
I don't think they're depressed. When you feeling sad that time, the tears was coming out. Yes or no answer? When you feeling sad that time,
Stand up, please. At this point, you're talking of yourself, so please just try and stand. Don't be ashamed.
At that point in time, when you feeling,
She's having more swings already. Sorry.
if you're not feeling sad at that point in time, your mood was not low, you didn't have a low energy, you didn't have anhedonia, there's no point thinking that you are depressed. I think women usually have swinging issues usually. So I think it's just one of those things, and you just deal with it your own way.
Another thing is this, you said sometimes when you're calm, you become teary-eyed, right? And sometimes you have, most times you said you have mood swings. The truth is, I'm not beginning to, like you said, were you depressed? You said no. Now there is something called your subconscious. You know what your subconscious is? The mind inside your mind. That's the layman way I can explain it. And sometimes something is really wrong with you, but it's not in the outside one, it's there and you don't even know it. It is something that must have happened and you try to suppress, so you just went to sit down there, waiting for the day you are ready to bring it out. So at this point when you're now having a mood swing, you don't know that that is the reason. You may not know that is the reason. You'll be wondering what is wrong with me. But there is something dancing in your mind because it has not been resolved. So whenever you have these mood swings, try and figure out what's going on with you and let that thing go.
Mood swing. Alright, thank you very much. So just to wrap up, in addition to that, I think for ladies usually you have surge of hormones. So that will explain that. If there's nothing wrong, nothing bothering your mind, but you still keep having mood swings, because the hormones are just up and down, up and down, up and down.
Okay, let me come to at least I'm a woman at the same time. Honestly speaking, sometimes when you're calm and you get teary-eyed, I think you should look into it. Speak to someone, alright? Because the people that eventually become depressed that we diagnose assumed they were fine at some point. Alright, so if there's anyone here, you notice something that is not usual. If I take a census, how many of us, because of hormones, get calm and start crying? It's a little bit unusual. So you might probably, like she said, I would like to emphasize what you said. Something has happened that you have, developed problem-solving skills for. You have gathered yourself and you're doing very well. But it's somewhere. It's hiding somewhere, okay? So I think you should seek help, especially if it's happening all the time. Once in a while, you have time, every year, every month, just talk to someone, make it professional. I don't believe if you say a psychiatrist, then they will tell you this. No. That's why we are dying in Nigeria. Seek professional help. If you fail an exam and you're too sad for too long, talk to someone. Make it professional. We were taught stroke, central nervous system disease, heart problem, cardiovascular disease, mental illness is a psychological issue. So nobody should call it anything special. It's just an illness. Seek help. Seek professional help. Whatever anybody says is for their pockets. Help yourself. When you come out of it, they'll be able to help others.
Thank you very much. Very so on that final note, we'll like to take final words from each of our speakers. We'll be starting with you, Isabel.
Not the way final words, the final act.
Okay.
Another, your last exercise for the day. Sorry, I don't need news to do this one. Sorry, be my muse. Sorry, before we start, can you see this paper? Yes. Maybe you can show them, please. Tell me what you see. Look very well. Very fun.
I can see Nigeria.
You are depressed. What do you see on the paper?
There's a particular thing that you
White. We are seeing different things in this country. I mean, it's very hard. dangerous. But they are both live events. This one here happens around. Oh my God. It's not true. The only country where we close police station because of security reasons. We are in trouble.
Please give them a close look for as many that want to see it. You know? So, come me back. Can you see it? No, stand. Sorry. What did you see, please? Because I told them to take a glass of water and they didn't take it. You said paper with what?
Shaded and it does.
Shaded and at the center there's a white space. You're the only one that saw shaded and center. They saw all of them saw paper. They basically look at what's inside. Okay, but you see that thing I told you with a glass of water works in some situations, yeah? But this is a shaded. Now if you notice, what the first thing you said was shaded. Before you said, you did not say white before shaded. Yeah? Good. Now this shade was made. Hold this for me, please. Sorry, hold the paper. Now this shade was made, yeah? You can, of course, obviously you see it's a pencil. This is the problem. This is your mind. But this is the little ray of hope. You see, the ray of hope is never so large. It doesn't look so large to you. It looks always very tiny. And the real problem is getting from this point to that point. Because that is where people always feel they can't. But if you can tag to this little ray of hope, it will be over. How? I will explain. Shading this thing, it looks darker, right? But the hole looks so small. Is that, Pastor, please, can I have your book? This. Okay, hold it like this. Hold it like this. And as many of you that want to do it, it's okay to. From this place, this is an eraser. Do you understand me? This is the problem. When the solution is here, it's so small. But it's called hope. Listen, the Bible says hope deferred maketh the heart sick. But when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. The problem is the heart is sick. So at that point, you think there's no hope. Listen, a loss of faith and a loss of hope. A loss of hope is worse. And the loss of hope is always the depressive part. That's where worthlessness and all these things you said come in. Maybe you feel guilty. Oh, I raped a girl. Or maybe you feel you did something wrong. Oh, the disease. We keep holding on because we keep seeing the shaded part of life. We never see this point. But I put it to you that when you see it, you begin to let go. Like this. Has the part of it been cleaned? Yes. Me now, let's assume I'm letting go of all those people that hurt me. Yes, people that hurt me in my life, that I trusted and failed me. Are you saying that? Who else wants to clean? You don't want to let go of anything. It's okay. I'll keep cleaning. But this is how people let go of things. And then before you... Now, if you notice, do I need to put stress to clean? It's very easy. The only part that is hard is jumping from here to seeing here. But once you've done that, the rest becomes easy. 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 And you start cleaning. That's like the problem. And it becomes easy. Before you say Jack, look at it. It's already going. But you keep fighting. What is the fight? Telling yourself that no, I'm not going to remain where I was. I will go beyond it. So you clean again. From the middle part, you come again. And you want to do it. Yes, I want Who else wants to clean? It's okay to clean because at this point you may think that, oh, you don't want to do it, you're showing your problem. It's not. It's a therapy thing. It's therapeutic when you just tell yourself, okay, the person that stole from me today, I forgive you.
Make I before now people will just want the I just going to lecture. When people are involved in this thing, they will begin find white paper to share where it's just an illustration.
Exactly. You find out that by the time everyone one of us start cleaning here, there's nothing left of this paper. It becomes like this. And then you start afresh. Then please, can I have a biro? Who has a pen? No matter the color. When you now do that, after you clean that one, you now put this. What's that? Blue. Is there a difference between this and this? What's the difference? Color. Start adding color to your life. Tomorrow you do less. And remember, biro becomes permanent because even the eraser cannot clean the biro. So you start adding color. And that is how.
I just want to say that basically, I'm sure even when you see our parents, some of them are still going through some challenges as we speak now. Life is a process, and there won't be a time that challenges will just fly away. They will keep coming and they will keep modifying themselves. The challenges you face when you're 20 to 30 will be different from when you're going to face 30 to 40, 40 to 50. So something will always come. I just want us to prepare our mind not to be defeated, and then to seek for help, and also to make sure we develop good relationship with people, because those might be people that will at least save you when trouble comes knocking. And then I'll leave the rest for Pastor David to run.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Praise the living Jesus. Okay, all right.
Okay, our speakers can.
My speakers can have their seats now. Thank you very much. That's of course, I know that no pastor has no other solution other than Jesus. All professional help will fail if Jesus doesn't make it work. That is why doctors always have this saying that they try, but only God cures. Praise God. I would like to round off from a practical perspective. I once attempted suicide twice. My younger sister here, she didn't have an inclination. Neither does anyone in my family, as I'm saying. And what brought about that? I became born again. I think I was 12 or 11 years old as a Christian then. I grew up from the dimension, from the perspective of when you pray, God answers. And indeed, when I pray with people, God answers. But when I pray for myself, I don't find answer. So I felt that was a problem. While I was trying to gather my feet to keep in faith with what I believe, my convictions were tested. So admission wasn't coming through, persecution was on the rise. At home, I was adjudged mental, I had a mental disorder, such that when I'm washing clothes, and songs come on your spirit, I was told, and I was described as a psychiatric patient. I remember, if you remember, there was a time that she came to tell me that there was something inside the water for me, just to calm my mental issues down. So it was even difficult to trust to eat at home. I went through all this. My mates were gaining admission. I didn't gain admission. I wasn't less brilliant. But every year in John, I was scoring higher. But I will always be 1 mark below cut-off point. I didn't find help. People who didn't even have 200 were going into school. So you can understand the build-up. When they say, do you have anybody, do you know anybody? I didn't even, all the people I told, in fact, I don't want to mention someone who is a known figure in APC in Lagos State politics, now in federal. I met with him like this, just told me, one of you can go. He said it in English, you also want to become a lawyer. Of course, he was a lawyer, I'm still a lawyer. And I was telling him, I can do this. I just looked at the look. I interpreted the look myself now. Oh, they cannot. And I left this officer. So all the efforts he promised to help didn't come. So I was choked. I couldn't see the white spot the psychologist showed us now. There was the hope, if you say Jim, was even gone. So it was difficult for me to really figure out anything. So I could not, among my mates that finished secondary school together, when this one will call you, I'm going to share with you, I'm in university of this, I'm in university of that. I don't even do like, maybe you do like, I don't even do a comment. So I started withdrawing. The only place I had fulfillment was just show up in church. That was the time. I just felt like sleeping in church. Not that I was saying, do anything, but there was again the white spot, which was the joy of teaching people about God. But every time I taught and I had to teach on faith, I was withstood with, if you have faith, you should have gained admission. Unfortunately for me, my school cert was withheld. My entire center was cancelled. The person I spoke to, who is in WAEC, said, once WAEC cancels your result, there is no hope. So everything everyone kept telling me was done. Now, two things brought the reset. I once shared it with you. So I made up my mind, I studied the language. And there, the destination was. So, but while I wanted to do that, I remember that if I jump, nobody will know. So I think somebody should have a record that he wanted to die and he died this way. So that, honestly, you don't know how it, and that, I believe that was the Holy Spirit. It really helped me. So I wanted someone to know that I'm going to die, but I don't want to tell her, and I don't want to tell the one immediately after. So it was difficult, really, to really sell that. I know that moment I sell it to her, we share a bond. I know that I won't be able to do it. So, but because I couldn't get anyone who will support me, that this is what's going to happen, that thought, I couldn't act it out. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going under the bridge. Jibo then was where mad people were. That's their habitation. So I was so angry. But when I got to Jibo, the people I saw there gave me reset in my brain. Because I know that if this one should slap me, I will neither be dead nor be alive. I will not be okay. And I don't know for how long, I may not be complete again in life. So I just told myself, normal thing. The sense started coming in. After all, they're still better than this one. Because the kind of mad people that time, they didn't have control. This doctor could profess, I'm talking about me, 1994, 1995. They were staunch, and unfortunately, you know where many people went psychotic then, or psychiatric then, was when June 12 was rejected. So people who had believed that Abiola was bringing hope, we were plenty, we were on the depression, but they were there. So I'm telling you, old, rich, young, everybody took habitation under Jibo Bridge. Jibo Bridge is really fine, and it was very, very bad. But you know, those things helped me to think back. Then I remember that I used to teach people that even if it pains you, still believe God. Then I stumbled across Bishop Oyedepo's books. I started listening. Then, one or the other, I came across the top of my mother's book, and light, information, rightly timed information entered into that mind, and then the eraser started coming. Why do I have to die? I am a ray of hope for somebody, and God saw you ahead of me that time, and because of you, for today, preserved me. I think it's important to celebrate Jesus. The same way, whatever you are going now to is a picture, a story for somebody who needs help. You can't afford to die now. You can't afford to give up now. You can't afford to lose that ray of hope because there's somebody waiting to read your story. Please tell your neighbor, say neighbor, you can't afford to give up now. Look at them eyeball to eyeball. Don't look at their side. There's something about you. There's a song that person. Tell them, you're somebody's fool. Please don't die. Don't go depressed. Don't give up on God. Listen, and that scripture is so clear about that. The night is longer than the truth when it's about to. Another person put it this way, that the night is darkest when morning is about to break. And that's why when you check between 4:30, 5:30 to 6 a.m., it looks like so dark. But immediately after that is your noonday. Your morning is breaking forth in Jesus' name.
Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh, too much.